Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. And welcome to the show, everybody. There's Brichelle sitting over there. How are you?
I'm good. My energy is coming up, even though it's 4 o'clock where I'm at. So I'm a little backwards today.
Well, for you, that's like mid-morning these days.
No. I don't know what you're talking about. Just some days.
That's what I say. Would you like to introduce our guest for the hour? And we've got a great guest for you all and stuff. And Brichelle, go ahead.
Yes, we have Siquoyia Blue joining us in today. And I'm going to let you tell everybody and all our listeners about who you are and what you do. And thank you for being here.
Hello, everyone. I'm Siquoyia Blue, and I'm a technologist. I'm an abstract soul singer or alternative soul singer. Um, I am a author, so I have a children's book out, and I have some coloring books out. And I'm also a technologist. I already said that. What else did I didn't say? Oh, I'm a card game creator, Dating Assassins card game, and I have some more coming out soon.
How did you come
Um,
up with, by the way, welcome to the show, Sequoia. And
Thank
thank,
you.
thank you so much. How did you come up with the card game? And tell us what that's all about.
Oh man, what a story. So I was working at a gaming company in California, and I remember we had to do Q&A for the games and practice the games and stuff. And I was in there and I used to talk to the guys and stuff, and they would talk about their dating lives, and then some of the ladies that I used to meet with after work would talk about their dating life and stuff. And I said, and they just felt like they weren't getting the answers they weren't wanted from potential partners and stuff. And I was just like, you know what? It'd be cool to do a game with 150 questions where you're kind of vetting the person to get to know them for serious daters that want to know the truth, want to really know if that's the right person for them. So I compiled 150 questions. My mom even helped me out. She was married for 16 years before she became a widow. And so she actually even, said, hey, these are some questions that you should ask. Hey, I've been married for 16 years. So I also had insight from her. And then as well as me, I'm a dater. So I just said, you know what's some stuff we can ask to where people don't feel uncomfortable and be like, oh, I don't want to ask this person that because they might just blame it on the card game at this point. Because dating assassins you can blame it on the card game, or you can. But like I said, you can also on the website datingassassin.com. There's a FAQ section where you can skip questions too, so don't feel obligated to ask the question. If you don't want to ask the question or you don't want to answer the question, you don't got to. So let me make that clear, because some people think, oh, I got to ask a question. No one's putting no gun to your head. It's still your game once you get it. You can do it the way you want. So that's the game. And yeah, and I started 2022. It launched in 2022. So I had the idea in 2018. I launched it in 2022. And it's everywhere now. It's on Amazon. It's on Walmart. It's on my website, which I prefer people to buy it from the website and leave a review, because the website is precedence, because that's how I'm an independent person. I don't have anybody investing in this. I'm investing all on my own. So I really would like for people to purchase it on my website.
Now, Brichelle came up to visit me last week, and in the B&B that they had a card game there.
Mhm.
Brichelle, do you remember what the name of that was?
yeah, there was two of them. There was Cards Against Humanity, and then
Yep.
the other one was what? It's like it shows you a picture and you choose, oh, what do you meme? And it shows a meme with a
Oh
picture, and
yeah.
whoever gets the best meme that matches the picture, and then you vote and you go around. Um, we were playing it with a 14-year-old and soonly realized that it was not for children, but she
Oh
held it
no.
down pretty well, so we made it through.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I think it's cool because card games are it's very important, especially if things get dystopian. I mean, the card
Yeah,
game you're always gonna have something to do.
well, and then you can
and
just put it away and come back together, and it goes away.
Yeah.
I had no idea that that was a thing. Is that a thing now?
Card games?
Yeah, well, these
I mean,
these well, I know what the cards that I know have there's a deck of 52 and they've got numbers on them and king, queen, and
Yep.
ace and
Poker.
then those things for like poker or 21 and that kind of stuff. But I didn't realize that there were actually a bunch of different games. I knew about Pictionary
yeah,
and stuff, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't realize that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a lot more coming out now, and I mean, I think
yeah,
it's just an easy way for conversation because sometimes just we don't ask the right questions, and even if we're hanging out with friends and stuff, like you really want to get to know them, we stay so surface level. Like, where do you work? Okay, I mean, who's this person? So it's good to get to know people and ask certain questions.
It has been it has been so long since I've met somebody like in a coffee shop who I didn't really know very well and stuff like that. So I guess that would be very beneficial if you're in the dating world and want to find out more about
Yeah,
the individual that you are thinking about dating. Because I had to question
yeah.
I had a lady in front of me, and I said, "Well, what kind of music do you like?" And she said, "Well, I like all kinds of music." And I said, "Well, I'm a Beatles fan." And she said, "I
Mm.
hate the Beatles." And I said, "Check,
Oh.
please." That was the
Yeah,
end of
that's
the
similar
conversation.
to one of the questions. Like, I mean, are you frugal? Because if one person is not and then the other person is, I mean, it might not work. I mean, you can't really change a person. You shouldn't change anybody. You shouldn't want to change somebody to morph into what you want them to be. So this card game kind of gives you that leeway to be like, okay, you fine and you got this going on, but are we going to click?
yeah.
No nonsense.
Well,
Exactly.
and Rochelle came to my house last week, and she knows how frugal I am.
Yes,
Oh.
almost. I was like, we could have something that's like alive in here.
Oh,
But I
dang.
guess there's a lot alive outside, so makes up for it.
Well, it's something
Yeah.
that's alive in my place that I can then, forget to water and kill, which is why
Oh,
I don't.
no.
And
It's
she
such a
loves.
Awareness is key.
responsibility, to take care
Yeah.
of the animal. And dog I mean, he's work.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna get him like a little plant, maybe like a cactus that you don't have to water,
Oh,
or
that's
a fish, something,
yeah.
but wasn't there for long
I
enough.
like betas.
Otherwise, there'd be.
Yeah.
Oh yes, me too.
You like what?
Yeah. Beta
Beta fish.
fish.
Okay, I'll bite. What's a beta fish?
I don't
Go
even
ahead and explain
like
this, Sequoia.
I don't know the
I
origin
think
of it, but it's like a little tiny
they're
fish. It's like
tropical
the size of a
fish.
goldfish, and they like have little
Yeah.
fins and they're colorful and pretty, and they live for a long time. They can live for over a year.
No, I had mine for 3.5 years, and when it died, I actually fully cried. Like it was so heartbreaking. But yeah, they're
Yeah.
this little flowy, colorful fish that you get in this tiny, tiny little cup at PetSmart, which they probably should stop doing that. But they're not that expensive, and you buy them food, they last forever.
Yeah.
Well,
And you talk to
when
them and they look at you.
Yes, yes, and some of them have an attitude. I like the male ones.
a fish
Yes.
with an attitude.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
anything can have an
Yeah, he'll
attitude.
turn around like this,
Yeah, he
I had a fish that did that, he would be like and I say, "Okay, fine then."
She gets it.
Yes, she does. Well, and the last time I had fish, my brother, when he was still here, turned the thermostat up to 85 degrees and didn't tell me. And then we left the house. And when we came back, all the fish were floating on top.
Oh, dang.
That's
Oh,
just
no.
crude. Yeah.
Poor fish.
Freaking
Yeah.
boys, man.
Mm-mm-mm.
So
They
anyway,
don't know.
you do so much more than the card
Yeah,
game. Tell us about
yeah.
all the things that you do.
Well, by day, I'm a monitoring engineer, so I do that, and it's basically just me monitoring data and stuff and just making sure observability is in place for all the websites and stuff that the company uses and stuff. So that's what I do during the day, which is, it's just my day thing. And then And in the afternoon, I try to just promote my business and focus on like different strategies and ways to get dating assassins out there. I also have a podcast called Blue Alchemist Podcast. I have solo shows, and then I also interview people as well. It's kind of like a thought-provoking podcast where I'm challenging your perspective. That is my slogan. Like, I want to challenge what you think. I want to make you think different. So if I'm doing a solo show, it's about something that happened, and I'm trying to see what you think about it. If it's a guest coming on, I might ask them something different, to see where their mind's at and see if I can help them share something with my guests, stuff like that. So yeah, I've been doing that for a while now. Not as much as I would like to. I feel like, the job can get in the way. And, ever since COVID in 2020, I haven't had the same energy I used to have before I had COVID. It's kind of weird. So I'm trying to navigate through that. I'm like, God dang. So that's one thing. And what else? Yeah, my books. So, I have a book called Dark Obsession. That was my first book I wrote. I was 20 years old, and that was before I really could start doing music the way I wanted. I wanted a way to just release whatever was on my mind. And a lot of my stories and ideas come from just seeing something. Like I said, the card game came from Riot Game. I mean, the company I was before, and then the you want to say name of the company, and then the what was it? The book came from me working at the airport when I was 20 years old. And I saw this lady coming into the airport, and she was just so regal looking to me. Like she just had it all. And at that time, I didn't know what my future was going to be. I was only 20, and I was just like, dang, I bet you she's some lawyer. She just got it going on. And so I wrote a book based off what I thought her life would be. And so the book, and I didn't know much about editing or anything, because I was, like I said, all I did was music. I was new to the book industry, and I just wrote the book. And then the first book got murdered. I didn't even think anybody was gonna find it. I didn't know what I was doing. I just put it on Amazon. It said it was free, and people was like, "Oh, you didn't edit right." Yeah, I was like, "Oh Lord." So I went. It took me a few years to find a new editor. And I found a new editor. What's his name? I wanted to shout him out, but I can't remember his name right now. But he's really good, and he re-edited the book, and I changed the title to Dark Obsession. So now people don't got a problem with it. He fixed it up. So it's on Amazon. You can purchase that. I'm also going to be working on my new website, so I can just have the products on there. Because, like I said, I want everything to be purchased from my website. But for now, Amazon's where you get it. And then Sammie Bean, I did a children's book. That I put that book out around the time I met the editor. So that one, nobody had a problem with. You see, it has all these 5 stars. Everybody likes it. It's a little short, quaint children's book about a young man, a young boy being bullied, and he stands up to the bully. And it's a little bit of fantasy in it, and it's a little action. And I also wrote that book in my early 20s too. I wrote that book in my early 20s too, but that one I put out later on, because after I got the editor, I was like, yeah, I can put it out now. And so that one is doing well. I'm start pushing it more. And then I got 2 coloring books out. So it's just a relaxing coloring book, just to chill, just to, have a glass of wine, even though now they're saying don't drink the wine now, they're saying it's dangerous, but it's a whole nother story. But a color, so you can just relax with the coloring book and chill out and just try to get your mind out the day, because life is hard. So if sometime when you're coloring and stuff, your mind goes somewhere else. But it's adult coloring books. It's 2 adult coloring books. It's 4 adults. It's Ocean Vibes and Boss Kingdom. I think that's what it's called. Look, I don't even name it, but they're both on there. The Siquoyia Blue. I have a profile on there with all my books on Amazon. And yeah, and then yeah.
Well, I was just going to say that you are what we would call a creative. Have you always been a creative?
Yes. I mean, I didn't know I was until I was 12, because when I was 12, I used to go to YMCA, and there was a guy, a counselor, used to always be singing and stuff. And I used to just sing too. I used to try to, it's like, I didn't think it was any money in it. I'm just singing. I used to memorize rap songs, and I would rap to my bullies. And just because I memorized it, I would just sing. And I said, oh, that makes them quiet. So, okay. I mean, I didn't think about, oh, I'm the best singer. I didn't know nothing about that. I thought I had to be a doctor or a basketball player. I didn't know. I said, oh, I'm trying to be, I want to be Lisa Leslie. I'm tall. At the time, I was tall. Now I'm short. I don't know what happened. But at the time, I was really tall and skinny. And everybody was like, oh, you're a tree. They call me Siquoyia the tree. So, because then hence my name is named after a tree, but they also call me Siquoyia the tree. And so I was like, oh, I just be a basketball player at school. I don't want to do school, I got nothing I can do. I still do basketball. And then when I realized I wasn't good at basketball, I just said, well, maybe I'll just sing, because I had bad anxiety back then. I didn't know what anxiety was at 12. At 12, you didn't know that you could have learned. You just got anxiety, and the teachers didn't know what to do with you. So you just give up and say bye, and you don't try to become that doctor that you might have thought of. Because at first I said, oh, I'll just be a dermatologist. I'll help people with skin issues, stuff like that. But then I said, I can't do that. I'm not paying attention in school. So that's when music came in, and I started realizing, oh, people make money from music. And 14, 15 is when I started getting into the music thing and really trying to take it more seriously. And I didn't know it was so cutthroat either. I was like, whoa. So when I just didn't know. I mean, all the other artists and what they've been through, all the artists I've met when I went to Atlanta, when I moved there around, I was 17 when my folks moved to Atlanta. And I was just like, man, all of these, I mean, I didn't know all this was going on in the industry. So I became like, okay, I'm gonna do other stuff as well because I don't trust this industry. So that's when I started realizing I could write books and all types of stuff. I said, okay, so I had a story and it came to me, and everything's not always about me. That it could be with music or a book I wrote. It's not always about me per se. It's just something that I saw somebody or watched the movie and it came to me. Because even my song Champion that I wrote, that song was from Paulo Coelho's book, 11 Minutes. His book inspired me to write Champion. The song's not even about me. It's not even about something I even remotely been through. It's just the song. I mean, the book just inspired me. I mean, Paulo Coelho is such a great author. I read his books. And he's so philosophical. I mean, he's so inspiring. But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent. But yeah, that's.
No, you go.
And it's a good tangent.
Yeah.
Rochelle, would you like to take us to break?
Yes, thank you for joining in with us, everybody. Stay with us. We're talking to Siquoyia, who is doing everything and more that could even be imaginable, especially with the way you look so young. I'm like, how do you have time for all these things and not age in it? But go visit her SoundCloud and her website, and we will be right back. We're with Kevin McDonald, myself, and Siquoyia Blue.
At 67 years young, I never thought I'd feel this good again. But thanks to Purium's Ultimate Transformation Lifestyle, to date, I've lost 37 pounds and gained energy, confidence, and a whole new outlook on life. This isn't a diet. Purium is a complete lifestyle change, giving me all the natural, organic, nutrition-packed superfoods that fuel my body, crush my cravings, and help me burn fat naturally without starving myself. No gimmicks, no guesswork, just a simple, proven system that works. Superfood shakes, detox support, and real results. If I can do this at 67, imagine what you can do. It's your time to feel better, look better, and live better with Purium. Let's do it now, and let's do it together. Go to www.positivetalkradio.net and click on the Transform You to get started. That's positivetalkradio.net. Transform You. And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald and Rochelle. And Siquoyia Blue is our guest, and she is, let's see, she is a computer person. She's an author. She's a musician. She's a poet, and she's a very nice person. And Rochelle asked the question of, how do you have so much time? And you seem awfully young to be so wise in doing all the things you're doing. Rochelle, was that the gist?
Yeah, really just how you have so much time. And then during the break made me think of to ask you, is there one hurdle that you had to overcome with one specific thing that stayed with you and changed and shaped the direction that you continue to go in?
Oh wow, it's a good question. So as far as having time for everything, I do everything all at different times. So my music I
Right.
might do on one weekend, and that's the plan. And then I'll write any ideas that come to me like in a journal. So if I'm watching a show or something and there's an idea, I'll jot down the idea. And then on that weekend, I'll go in my studio that I have in my home and I'll just record there and get it down. Which I'm gonna start recording more very soon. Then what was the other question again? The part two.
Part two was a challenge or something that you had to overcome
Oh,
that
so
shaped. your future?
I've had several challenges I've had to overcome, but I'll just say one recent one, which is when I first moved to California, when I was 29. That was a time where I figured out I had to find myself and figure out, what do I really want to do? Because I thought that I wanted people to like what I'm doing, and my music especially. And then I thought I wanted one thing, and I realized I didn't. And so what happened was I just changed. That was a pivotal moment where I got out of a bad relationship, and I learned a lot about myself. He wasn't, he was just trying to bring me down. I met a lot of people throughout my life was just trying to just bring you down, and they don't even know. They just be saying stuff. People talk out the side of their neck all the time. But when you're in your early 20s and stuff, you don't know. You're thinking, oh, they're right. Oh, maybe I am this, maybe I'm that. So those were some hurdles I had to overcome several times until finally, when I moved out on my own in LA at 29, I said, oh, it was like an aha moment, as Oprah would say. Oh, nobody really know what to do. Everything's made up. Everything's
Yep.
made up. You can say twinkle, twinkle, little star and say that's what's going to be. And everybody agrees twinkle, twinkle, little star, because it's all thought think. It's all a think tank. It's all made up. So when I got to that level, the confidence started seething in. And that's when I got to the point where it was like, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. Because at one point people say focus on one thing. And then I was just trying to focus on the music, and I wasn't getting the money, and I wasn't liking what I didn't want to be and do something that I don't want to do. And then later on cry in a mansion. No, didn't want to do that neither. So,
Yep.
those are things I don't want to do. And so I said, okay, that's when I realized, oh, dang, I can put out my own music. Everything's made up. I do what I want to do. And I don't want no fame. I realized I didn't want fame. I never did want fame. I didn't understand how it worked until like I said, I was 29, and I realized you can make money without fame. You can do whatever you want to do. And that was the main hurdle I overcame, was to stop listening to people. You can listen to people, but still follow what is true to your heart. If you want to put that song out, put it out. If you want to put that book out, put it out. And everything's never really at the same time anyway. So if you put a book out this week and then 2 months later you put out a song, it's still not all at the same time.
Very true. It's very
Well, and
wise.
you get to have the opportunity to do anything that you want to do. It's pretty freeing when you have that attitude, isn't it?
Yes, it is, because it's one of those things where it it just helps your life, because I feel like even people older than me and worried about what people think and stuff, it just don't make sense. Like, if somebody want to go stay in Alaska for a year and go fishing, that's their life. I mean, who cares? I mean, as long as they're happy and do what they need to do. I just hate it. I just don't like it when people tell people to do things because that's the way they would do it. That's not how the
Yeah.
reality is. It's all made up anyway.
Yeah, that is very true. I had a moment last week or the week before with a friend, and I just kind of like blurted out. I was being super calm and wasn't saying much, and then all of a sudden just had this like tweaker moment, and she looked at me and was like, "Did you just realize that you have free will?" And that's exactly what it felt like. It was like I had this little thing that just shot into my head that was like, "You can do anything you want." You know
Hmm.
that, like whenever you want, you can do whatever you want. And I
Yeah.
think that there can be such a power to that. And some people sadly may twist it and take it and turn it a different direction, which I've seen that you have to be
Hmm.
very careful with. But there's a whole nother side of it that's like, wow, if I have control of myself, then really I can control what's around me and how I let it affect me. Mindset is everything. And I would say, is I being 26, that these next few years, I'm like, okay, this is where it really sinks in. This is where it really hits, and things start to have their purpose, and you start to see more than you did before, for sure.
Hmm. I totally
Wait,
agree.
you know,
I don't
you
know
know,
where my camera went, but oh, wait a
I'm
minute.
like,
How did I?
hello, where'd
Well,
you
that
there
go?
you go. Now it's
There we
back.
go.
what happened to my background?
Oh no, well, that's okay.
Things
You know,
happen.
Sequoia,
Yeah, like my cool
we did a
background.
show.
Yeah.
Oh, your background's great, by the way. We did a show just an hour and a half ago or stuff, and Rochelle was saying, because she's 26, she goes,
Wow,
when
so
I'm
young.
50, I'm gonna find out I'm gonna do a whole bunch of other stuff. And I was thinking to myself, holy crap, that was 17 years ago.
Oof.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, 15 for me was 11 years ago. I'm like, uh, what
Wow.
what happened in all that time?
And so,
Dang, and it
and
goes
both
by
of you,
fast.
yeah, and both
Yeah.
of you are very young, and you've got a lot of talent. And by the way, tell us about whiskey on
Oh
my
yeah,
mind.
so Whiskey on My Mind is my first song I've ever done where I created the beat by like myself, just by myself because the thing is, one of the things about being a songwriter is that you're writing the songs yourself and you got to figure out the flow yourself because a lot of times it costs thousands of dollars to get someone that's skilled enough to go with the flow of your song. Most people can't do that. And I don't know why I keep going um most people can't do that. And so that's one of the things. Most people can't do it. And that's why I was like, let me do it myself. And it came out a lot. I mean, it came out better than what I would have expected. It definitely did. Hold on a second. I don't know why my background keeps going out, my cool background. Um, it's because I'm on the Chrome. Okay, so yeah, so basically it's about me being when I was living in LA, I went to this bar, right? And I would go to the bar and I would take I would just chill out and just people watch and drink some coffee, whatever, or I might have some wine. But one day there was this guy at the bar and he was just like rounds of whiskey to for everybody. And I'm like, I don't even drink whiskey, but I was like, well, he's paying. So I just said, okay, fine. I had a long day. So I took a shot of the whiskey and everybody at the bar was like, and so then he was like, another round for the whole bar. So I said, well, what's one more? I mean, because I walked to the bar. You know, the song I said, I stepped in my car, like I was sitting in my car and zooped up, but I wasn't in the car. I walked to my apartment. But, at that moment, I had an epiphany, like it had me think. And I was just like, oh man, it was my second epiphany in LA, and I feel like I entered into a new dimension. It kind of went spiritual. I said, I think so. Whiskey on My Mind as I toast to a new me, and then I was just like doing some woo woo woo, some like noises and stuff in the song, but it's kind of different. But he just came to me like that, and it was just like this whole spiritual transition of jumping into a new me with just in that very moment. And it could have not just been the whiskey; it was that whole energy of the bar. It was like everybody was just. It was just like a parallel universe of some sort. I'm kind of, stuff like that. It was like another dimension in the whole bar, and it's something I never felt before. So I just thought, and that's why that's how that song came about. And I just
Well,
had
and
to get it out there.
you said there one of the most famous things that you should never say when you're in a bar, which is, "Oh, I can have just one more."
Yeah, not that day again. I'm a lightweight, and I should have just had one shot because that was enough. But the second shot didn't get me drunk or anything. But I was definitely tipsy and thinking and like, because my wine doesn't do that. A red wine kind of mellows you out. But that whiskey it was a hit. And I said it was right when I needed the right time at the right moment that I didn't know that I even needed because I never asked for nothing like that when I go out.
So you
So
said
yeah, just
you said you had a spiritual epiphany. What was that epiphany?
um it was just that like sometimes you're just right where you need to be and you're at the right place and to follow the signs of what's being said to you because sometimes I'll say something. I'll say, man, I want to know about this, or I'll ask a question, and if I'm not in my ego space, I'm not in my anger or whatever, I get the answer immediately. And I don't know how that works, or people say it's people called chosen ones or something like that, but I be getting answers and stuff. And it was like the whole everything got heightened at that moment where it was just I was getting downloads, the spiritual crew know what I mean by downloads, but I was getting those downloads pretty tough. And I was getting the answers and I was able to figure out what I need to do in California for the time I was there. And yeah, that was the spiritual epiphany at that point.
Explain, Burchelle, what she means when she says downloads.
Downloads would be, let me try to think of a way to paraphrase this and then we'll take our break. But I think the best way to describe a download is hearing, like, imagine that you had a little angel on your shoulder and all of a sudden it just started kind of telling you things and it soaked into your mind and then it soaked into your heart, soaked into who you were and kind of
Yep.
changed who you were. I mean, every download that you get has its purpose and sometimes there's multiple, sometimes there's one, sometimes they're really small. You kind of have to like wait, is that something I need to pay
Mhm.
attention to? but most of the time they're pretty loud, and it's the knowing from something else. And I would almost want to relate it to some sort of an intuition, because you have to be connected, like you said, Sequoia, to even allow that message to find you.
Yeah. And at that time, you had to do a break, but I was gonna mention that I met some spiritual sisters and I started going to a spiritual
Mhm.
like church, but it wasn't like a typical Christian church. It was a spiritual church and it was a
Well,
woman-owned
let's talk
church.
about
And
that.
yeah,
We
we'll
need,
talk.
Yeah.
we need to take our quick break and then let's talk about that because there are a lot of people that are looking for an
Mhm,
alternative way to get um, community and with
mhm.
like-minded people. And so let's talk about that because it's very, very, very important. We'll be right back.
Yes.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Brachelle, who is over there, and little old me, who just holds up my end of the show. It really is becoming Brachelle's show, I have to say. And we have a great guest. Siquoyia Blue is with us, and we were talking about you had was it your first epiphany or your second epiphany when you decided
Second.
that you had to go find yourself and go find a place that you would feel comfortable doing some
Mhm.
spiritual exploration. Would that be a great way to describe it?
Yes, yes. That's definitely it.
And when you found your spiritual sisters, what did that look like?
It was interesting because I learned that I wasn't alone and they all were on different journeys and their spiritual path and stuff. And I when I started going to that church, the women's church, it was like I was connecting with different people and bringing things to fruition. And I didn't know it would be such a church like that. I grew up Baptist. I didn't know anything about that.
Oh
But it was
boy.
like I felt more freeing there than I mean, I'm not knocking Christians and I'm not, but I felt more welcomed there, more able to be myself and tap into things and talk about what I wanted without being judged. Um, and so it was a good experience. And unfortunately, that church had closed down because Orange County didn't see it as important or something. I don't know, but I really don't know why they just shut the lady's business down. So um, it's a sad thing, but that moment, that was what I needed the time and to help me get to the next page and to where I needed to be.
And it's continuing growth in through all the
Yes.
things that you've done and all the experiences that you've had.
Yeah.
If you had some advice for somebody who is where you were when you were
Mhm.
downing the shots of whiskey and were interested in doing something spectacular and new and different, what advice would you give them?
I would just say just run with it. I mean, because if you don't try and practice anything, you can't learn, you can't grow, you can't do anything. And go with your gut, your intuition. So if something tells you to do something that makes sense that you want to do, and you're not hurting anybody or yourself, then just do it. Don't wait because for somebody to pat you on the back and say do this. Just do it anyway, and the worst that can happen is no, and sometimes it takes a minute for people to catch on, but it doesn't matter, still put it out into the universe. um And I think that's what I want to tell people, and just be confident in yourself, because that's all we have is our confidence. Everybody's not going to like what you do. Everybody's not going to like your stuff, but at least you put it out, for yourself, for your own heart. And this is to the artists that are really from the, what's the word? I can't even remember the name, but from the womb to the tomb artist. Not talking about the artists that want to just be like, want to, do it for likes and just for TikTok. I'm talking about artists from the womb to the tomb that is spiritually connected to music, and they got to do it regardless if they made one cent or not. They can't live without it. That's who the artists I'm talking about. And for anybody in life, just working a job, whatever case is, do what you got to do. Don't ever think you stuck somewhere. Just leave, get out. Like the movie, get out of it. Don't stay stuck into something you don't want to be at, because I'm gonna tell you right now, your health will get affected, and you want to live long, and you don't want to be under stress. So
Yeah.
Live long and prosper.
yes.
And on that note, it makes me think about how much growth you've really gone through with so many different things. What is your perspective on growth? Because I know a lot of people tend to give it their own meaning.
Ooh, that's a good question. I think growth is I think growth is reaching milestones and also reflecting back and say, okay, at this time, I really didn't need to do that. I didn't need to even say that, and that I could have answered it this way. I could have done things this way. And now I know what to do next time. The past is already past. You can't change it, but you know what to do for next time. Okay, I didn't have to talk down on myself like that time. I was somebody, and that I can still do this. And even to this day, you're going to have issues, ebb and flow with life. But you can say, okay, I could choose to think like this right now. I can say, nah, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to do this instead. I'm not going to sit here and be angry. I'm going to do this instead. Because the only thing that's worth being really mad about is your health. If you can't move and you stuck in the bed and your head can't move, I mean, you can't be angry, but at the end of the day, it kind of warrants the anger more than me saying, oh, this boss at work said this to me. Well, you're not going to be with him forever if you don't want to be. So it's just all a moment in time versus somebody stuck in the bed and can't move. So those things I kind of keep in my mind. I say, okay, I don't like what was said here, but I'm going to do this. I don't like what was said here, but I'm going to speak up. You speak up, always speak up, because somebody's coming in behind you. Speak up for someone else, but don't ever feel like, you can't reflect and say, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and let this person bring me down. I'm still smart. I still can do this. And that's growth to me, is those little moments of self-reflection and changing. I think that's growth.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned the topic of not thinking that you're in your worst situation, because like you said,
Yeah.
that somebody could wish they had your legs to walk. They could wish that they could move like
Mhm.
you, to run, to jump, to see, to hear. There's all these things every day that we're just like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. But the human
Mhm.
body takes so much to work, and it is
Whew.
doing it all the time. And if you really stop and think about what you're putting your
Mhm.
body and yourself through, I think it can
Mhm.
be very humbling.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because I think if we can just go back into reflection, and I wish I had done this in my 20s, but I think, hey, now is the best time than ever. And hopefully somebody that's 20 is listening to me right now and just, hey,
She
because I
is.
mean,
Girl, I'm listening.
yeah, yes, for sure. Yes, for sure. Yeah.
I'm trying.
Oh my goodness, 26. Yes, I don't even know what was I doing at 26? I was getting ready to move
I
to California. I
honestly
was trying to
think
get to
I'm
California.
almost damn near convinced this is the worst age.
Man, 25 to
But it could be the
29
best
is,
also.
whew,
It's
I mean,
yeah,
it was my
it's
second worst. My first worst was early 20s.
yeah.
My second worst was 25 to 29. It was woohoo, like
Well, I
it
got
was
the worst out of
so
the
much
way,
reflection.
thank God, because
Oh,
I'm on a
good.
whole new roller coaster. And now I know I can control it a little bit, but damn, it's not
Yeah.
the decisions and the choices and the everything you do and think and the way you are is literally setting you up for your entire future. And sometimes it's
Man.
just a little bit of stress, pressurized.
Yes. Yes. Because it's like a chess game, it's not checkers. It's like a chess game. What is your next move?
It
And you
is.
got to think
Yep.
about it. And I that's what I've learned at 30 years old. When I turned 30 back then, I said, oh, that's it. Okay. chess.
Yeah.
We're gonna play a chess game. And then
Yeah.
my life got so much better. My 30s is way better than my 20s. 30s is
I
way
hear
better
that
than
a
my
lot.
20s.
I hear that a lot. I'm
Like,
hoping I can conquer that before the 30 mark.
yeah, and you will. I mean, you're already doing this. At 26, I couldn't even get on the screen. I was scared to death. I was trying to hide. So I
I
couldn't
was
even
at
talk in
first. I
front of
was.
people. I couldn't do nothing.
Although there
So
is something that I did want to mention, because you're a singer and you're a writer, that this person, she told me that she sings a little bit, but she sings a little bit in private and stuff.
Mhm.
She's got, and so she sang for me. She's got a really, really good voice, but she doesn't know that she does. When she's
mm,
bashful to get out there and use it, unless she's had a few drinks in karaoke.
oh yeah.
Oh
But
yeah.
That'll help
I
you.
love my karaoke bars, but I've
Yeah, I
really
think
been thinking more about intricating the whole music thing into my life because music has been my whole
yeah,
life. As an only child,
yeah.
I connected to the bugs and the birds and the bees and the sky and music.
Mhm.
Music was huge for me. And I think it really just it's taking the time to be vulnerable enough with myself and kind of just lay it out. But I've started
Yeah.
to record moments where I catch myself just singing or humming like a song that doesn't even exist, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that was good." So I've been trying to take notes and working on that, but I don't have a song together yet.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, I think that, to the young lady you was talking about and to anybody, yeah, I mean, it's tough. Music is subjective. I'm gonna tell you right now. There's singers I love that somebody sat there and said, I don't like their voice, to me, and I mean, it's just different opinions, but that doesn't mean that person wasn't a bad singer. It just means that
Right.
some people just didn't like the singer. So I think that at the end of the day, just sing, and do it the way you want to do it. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if you try to be somebody you're not, because somebody told me this a long time ago, and I was 23. He was with a major label, and he said, "Listen, if you send me a song that ain't you," he said, "I'm a no, and I don't want it." And that was the realest thing somebody could tell me from the industry. And mind you, he's not in the industry, and he's not in it no more because he didn't like how it was going. But it makes sense because if you be somebody you're not, it's a job at this point. It's like, you're not gonna like it as much. It's gonna be like, I'm just doing this because they told me to.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it
Well,
because it
that's
comes from the
fair.
soul, then you're doing it because you
Yeah.
want to do it. And also, you can't
Well, and
do
I
it for
think
likes.
that's been
Yeah.
yeah. I think and that's what's been kind of hard is finding my voice. Because I've sang Christina
Mm,
Aguilera, sing Beyonce, sing this, you sing that,
yeah.
Adele, and all these things. And then there's Ariana Grande, and I
Mhm.
mastered so many different other people's
Mhm.
voices that now sometimes when I'm
Mhm.
singing it to myself, I'm like, whoa, I can totally choose how exactly I want this to sound. But sometimes it is like that little voice that's almost like trying to persuade how I'm sounding based off of like hearing it in a different tone because of another song. Um, so
Yeah,
having to
yeah.
really like put this little bubble around you and let everything kind of bounce off and only absorb what's inside of it is kind of the key for learning what my voice actually is that's not someone else.
Yeah, yeah, just stay because I've been through that, in my 20s, I was trying to be whoever was popular, and I realized I didn't like
Yeah.
that. I failed. I didn't wanna be like them, really. I was called
Yeah.
unorthodox by a major label, and, so, I didn't care. I didn't He was like, "You need to just do Rihanna." I'm like, "I'm not Rihanna. I love Rihanna, but I'm
Mm,
not her. I don't wanna do
yep.
Rihanna. I wanna do what I wanna do." And I said, "You came to me. I was on MySpace blown up. You came to me because people wanted something fresh." Because I did a remake of "If You Want Me to Stay" by Sly and the Family Stones, but I rewrote the song.
Mm,
And that was unheard of for 18, 19-year-olds. Like, what you doing with singing Sly and the Family Stones? But I remade it into what I wanted. And I got this smoky signature voice that I like. I like this smoky style. I was in advanced choir for 4 years. I went to performing arts high school and I sung different octaves and stuff, but it just didn't pull me in to do it privately. So I was like,
mm,
I just want to sing the way I want. And I like Slide and Family Stones. I like the voice. Back in the day, the music was whatever. Like you listen to some of the old
yep.
school soul music, everything wasn't refined and polished. Sometimes it was just raw and rough. And I loved it. And I said, maybe I'm before my
Mm.
time, but I said, I'm bringing it now, because it all starts with us. Everything starts with you. If you want to change, you have to do it. Even if no one sees it, somebody's always going to see it. because somebody later on could wake up to see your music 20 years from now and be like, yo, this the bomb, and put it everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
anytime it's
Yeah.
out into the universe, you're good. Because think about Vincent Van Gogh. If you ever listen to his story, everybody in town thought he was crazy. Nobody liked his art. They were like, oh, he's different. But guess what? After he died, guess what? Now he's a household. Everybody, okay, Van Gogh. Oh, we love Van Gogh. So sometimes that does happen, and it's okay,
Yeah.
because that's the point of doing music. If you're doing it for that, you know.
Yeah.
So
Well, and taking us into break, thank you for that, Sequoia. And I'm going to top it
you're
off by
welcome.
saying if there is somebody, anybody who is around you, which there is, whatever they want to do, be careful of asking them, well, who do you want to be like? Because I think we get that question a lot. I want to be this. Well, what kind of rapper do you want to be? What kind of singer do you want to be, like this person or that person? Well, I want to play football. Well, it's good to look up to people and have that inspiration, but I think the originality is what we're lacking a little bit with the newer music. It all tends to just sound the
Mm-hmm.
same, in my opinion. And I love the older
Mm-hmm.
music because there's soul and there's authenticity. So challenge somebody if you know they are wanting to do something. Like I'm challenging myself with music. It's really not to look at everything outside, but to have an inside perspective and be solid in it.
Yes. Snap, snap.
Well done. Well done. Well,
Thanks.
we'll be right back after this break.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald and Brachelle. Siquoyia Blue is our guest, and Siquoyia, I got to tell you, sometimes Brachelle will just say something that's like, where the hell did that come from?
I have no idea. Couldn't tell you.
I'll pull that out for people.
Yeah, it's being connected. Sometimes
Yeah.
I get moments where Kevin says, "Do you ever go back and listen to what you said?" I said, "Oh no, not even. I remember what they said, and I remember what I grasped from it, and like the basic question. But sometimes I even feel like in my head, I'm like, okay, you're dragging this out. Um,
Yeah.
but I like
Yeah. I
to
totally agree.
be heard, and I like to understand.
Yes, that makes sense. I'm the same way. I can just black out and start talking too. So, and I might not remember
Yeah,
everything,
yeah.
but
I'm surprised that people don't just hear me all the time talking more than they do because I just be talking. I'm like, somebody's listening.
yeah, somebody's always listening. Even on my solo
Yep.
episodes, I said somebody's listening.
Yep.
And both of you ladies are spiritually grounded, and you get downloads, and you
Mhm.
are working to do all the things that you're doing. We're going to run out of time, Sequoia, but I did want to go back to the original thing that we talked about, and that is your card game that you've
Oh, yes.
developed, because I would like everybody to go out and buy that card game.
Yes, yes, please go support it. It's a really cool game. I mean, it just helps you. It just having the right partner is life or death. Even Michelle Obama just said on her podcast, IMO podcast. And if you don't have the right partner, it could really ruin your life. And if you don't know, if you're not self-aware enough to know who's your right partner, this card game can balance that out. And that's the point of some of these questions could literally help you think logically and say, oh, wait a minute, I thought, I didn't know that. Or because some people that's been married might not even know some of those questions, or they might have changed their mind from when they first met that person. So those are things, I mean, even though it's for daters, but I'm just saying, I did have a married couple play it and they said they liked it. So they were married for they're married for 20 years, but it is for daters because some questions are more like most of these questions you should already know. I don't know. But yeah, go and vet your potential partner or your current partner and try to just connect. If anything, even if you think the questions aren't, you don't like some of the questions, it's okay. The point is that you're gonna sit down and you're gonna talk and you're gonna connect, because
Mm.
sometimes it could lead into another conversation with these cards. And that's the point of it, is conversation and feeding the soul, and making sure that you're with the right person. And that's what the next card
And
game
what
will
is
be
the
about.
game called,
But yeah,
Sequoia?
it's called Dating Assassins Card Game, and it's on my website. I only got one review so far, so if people can leave a review, that will help me out a lot. Mind you, I'm privately invested. I'm
Yeah.
investing myself, and I don't have any, this is all me. I'm putting up all my own
Yes.
money.
Well, I love it. And I love how you touched on the game helping you have communication, because a lot of
Yes.
times we always have our phones, or we have this, we have these
Mhm.
distractions, or we go watch a movie or do something that's rather than like engaging. You can learn
Mhm.
so much about a person so fast in just having a conversation with them that is one step below the surface level.
Yeah.
And before we run out of time, I wanted to ask you also, is there anything new that has come into a download, shall we say, that is something
Um,
you want to follow and perceive? Like, what are you doing now?
Well, I do want you guys, check out Shade Chat Companion on it's on OpenAI right now. It's just it's a GPT, which is my own little chatbot I created called Shay, which is my nickname. My middle name is Lashay. So Shade Chat Companion, I configured her to help people through with mental health issues. I realized that a lot of people need someone to talk to. I know it's AI, and you do need to talk to some real people. Please talk to them too. But I'm saying this, if you need somebody that's not going to like judge you or tell you what to do, let's say you just need a question answer, Shay will do that. She'll answer the question and tell you exactly what just tell you what's going on and tell you her opinion and stuff. And she doesn't judge you. And I think that's important, because a lot of times, sometimes people don't mean any harm, but sometimes they just impose too much of their opinion. And sometimes you just need a non-biased opinion. And that's what Shade Chat Companion is. She's also trained to handle any technical situation. So if you're at work and you're trying to code, and you need to debug something, guess what? Shay can answer that. She actually helps me too. So a lot of companies are
And you
trying to
said that
implement
was
AI
Shade
into their company.
Chat
Shay
Companion.
Chat Companion. Yeah, she's on
Okay.
Open AI, which is Chat GPT basically. But
Okay.
soon I'm going to be putting her out into the big world. So soon she's going to be off Open AI. She's going to go into her own website and in her own app, but that's going to take some time. But for now, you can still use her as I'm working on that.
And if I can make a observation about dating assassins,
Mhm.
um, when I was dating my former wife, which I was
Mhm.
married to for 24 years, I don't
Mm.
think that we had a deep conversation about
Mhm.
deep feelings ever. Not once. That wasn't what
See,
she
yeah.
did. That's not what her family stood for. That's not what they did. They would have an argument, and then they
Mm.
would go to bed, and then they would not ever bring up the argument again, because
Mm.
it was the next day. So it was a very superficial way of being.
Mm.
And I would like to think that this dating assassins card game can ask some intuitive questions that will make people think, so that they have to really delve deeper into those. And it's
Yeah.
a great vehicle to do that, I think. You tell me,
Mhm.
is it?
Well, it definitely is. I mean, I think that some questions somebody might be offended by. Like, I think somebody was upset because I asked somebody, one of the questions is, do you have a felony? And it's not that we're judging somebody with a felony, or, but we're just trying to get to know the person. That's it. So you definitely get to know them. And then there's some deeper questions, do you believe in alternate universe? There's different things. There's all types of questions where you're just learning about that person and see if your values align, and because values is more important than compatibility. So if I say, one of the questions, hey, are you a stout Christian, or are you a Muslim? What are you? What if I don't want to raise my kids Muslim? Or what if so you have to ask these questions. So these are some of the questions, but yeah, I think it's a great way. Most people that I know got the card so far likes it. Of course, everybody that doesn't say anything, but it'd be nice if everybody did say something, but I know that's
Well,
just a hard
I
thing
think
to do.
I think it's
Yeah.
important to be able to say, "Do you have a felony?" Because, "Oh, yeah, I do." "What did you get convicted of?" "Oh,
Yeah.
pedophilia." and stuff. And so you might not want to have children with an individual like that,
Yeah.
or some other things that come up, because nobody is going to volunteer. Yeah, let's go on a date. I've got a felony.
Yeah.
I've been in jail for 5 years, and
Well, and
nobody's
even
going
on the
to.
flip side of that, it makes you think about yourself. Like
Yeah.
you're asking a question and then you're like, okay, well, what about me?
Yeah,
You
because you're
know,
gonna ask
because
in
it goes
return.
both
Yeah, you
ways.
gotta answer too. Yeah. I mean, you can play it the
Yeah.
way you want. Like it is instructions, but you can play it, where I ask the question first and then you answer and then and then, vice versa. So you don't have to go one at a time. It just see, that's the thing. It depends on you, but we have the basic instructions where you're taking turns answering questions and stuff. And if you want to pass on the question, you can. And that's fine.
I think that is a telltale sign if you ask a question and they say, "Oh no, I'm not going to answer that." That that would be the, "Oh no, can't go there." That would, to me, that would be a red flag, red flag, red flag.
Yeah, you should
Me
be able to talk
too.
about anybody, anything.
I mean, I think some people, like I know one lady, she took the card game to play on her first dates, like a speed dating thing. Now, to me, those cards are kind of more so people that already feel like they want to date more so than just somebody that you don't even know if you want to date. But hey, it's your card game. You can use the way you want, but there are some questions that you may not want to ask. And if you don't want to ask it, just shuffle it around, because there's like two questions that are really personal, and with the felony and the other one is real personal. But I think it's important to know.
Well, I think one of the rules of the game should be, okay, if this person that you're developing a relationship with, if you've already developed a physical relationship with them, that you need to play the game naked, because then it's harder to lie. I don't know about you, but it's harder to lie when you're
Make
buck
the
ass
rules.
naked in front of somebody else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. You can do that too. Look, I tell you, the game could be used in so many different ways. We have vanilla instructions for you, but like I said, you can spice it up. And me being a natural innovator, if I didn't even create the game, if somebody gave me the game, I just make up my own rules if I wanted to, because
Yep.
that's just
Yeah.
how that's just how I am. But some people really need, they got to follow the instructions to the T. But I think, hey, yeah, because one of the parts in there is like when they take too long or don't want to answer, you can say you're assassinated, game over, but you're not ending the game. You're just trying to see why they didn't want to answer the question. That's when you're just putting them on the spot.
Well,
Yeah.
and
It'll
I
teach
think
you a
that is
lot.
great. Brashelle, what do you think?
I think it's awesome. It teaches you about how somebody even communicates, how they're willing, where they even stand with themselves, and also to reflect back on the other person. I love how you left it so open and so comfortable, because it creates a space of there is no rules, right? Like
Yeah.
this is just us being vulnerable and having a conversation and learning about each other without the rules side of it. So did you happen to say that it was available electronically, like online, or is it just a
No,
physical?
just physical. Just
Okay,
physical. Yeah.
very
Well,
good. Well, I'm gonna buy that.
Oh,
and
thank you.
and
Yes, leave a review. If you-
I'm gonna play with
and
my best friend even.
yeah, well,
Yeah, I
the
played
interesting.
it with people. I played it with dates I was on to test it out. I played it with family members, and they answered the question, because anybody could answer those questions,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, the interesting thing about that is that you can actually learn, or it can be a teaching moment, and to teach somebody something that they had never considered about themselves.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yes. Because it's like, because I remember when I went on a date with the guy and I asked him some questions and he was answering them all. Like, you believe it or not, like people was like, oh, women are gonna buy this. No, most of my sales are men. Most of the people that's buying my card are men. Yeah, men. So yeah,
Surprising.
it's not women, it's men. So,
And
and when I went on a
this-
date with the guys, they would immediately want to answer the questions. So yeah, they wanted to
and
answer.
I don't know whether anybody knows this or not, but when you're dating, you spend a lot of time lying, because you
Yeah.
don't want you want them to get committed to you before you let them know who you really are.
Yes. That's
The
it. And the
danger
people,
in that.
yeah. And if you can tap in while you're asking these questions, tap in, look at their movements, look at their facial expressions, just look at them. Don't just, don't be a bonehead. I mean, bobblehead. Look at them. See what they're saying. Look at how they're answering. It's
Their body language will tell you way more than their words most times.
yes,
Yes, indeed.
yes.
Sequoyia Blue has been our guest. And if they want to reach you, how do they do it?
Yeah, just go to my Instagram. I am Siquoyia Blue. All my links are there. Of course, sequoia.comi.io. Sequoia, I don't know if it's sequoiablue.com. It's sequoia.comi.io, but my Instagram, I am Siquoyia Blue. I'm there.
Go to Sequoyia Blue. You'll find her. Trust me, I did. So thank you so much for being here. Brashelle, you're awesome as always. I hope everybody has a great day and enjoy your life. Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another because each other's all